I'm going to show you the best way to make a factory. What's up everyone, it's DV. I've got a video for you to show you all about the factories in Roblox Islands. So this is going to be a little bit of a deep dive. If you have not watched my previous factory overview, you should watch that now so you can get an idea of everything that's been added in this latest update, including what steel mills are, what copper resources are. If you don't know any of that yet, you should definitely check out the other video before you start on this one, because you're going to need a little bit of a heads up or understanding of what all that means. Because if you don't know what copper is, then this video is going to be a little advanced for you. So I've linked that video in the description below, so if you want to check that out, go check it out. So this video is going to be all about the steel press as well as the copper press and how to use them. By now you should already know about the drills, and you should already know about steel mills. Like, you know, this is my auto over here. I've got a huge farm here, you can see, and this farm actually is working out for me really well. I have no complaints with this farm. If you didn't watch my steel mill farm video, you can check that out as well. That is also linked in the description, so it is related to this. But this video is all about copper and copper factories. Before I begin, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, because if you don't do that now, you might forget who I am and lose me forever. No, I'm kidding. You won't. Maybe actually you might want to sub just in case. I'm going to show you how to do an auto real quick. It's really easy. It's not hard at all to do this. And it requires no coal powering, so it requires 0 powering. So check this out. So you do need your drill. So this drill is actually, you know, farming copper right now automatically. So the copper ore and goes the ore into the smelter. The smelter smelts obviously the ore into ingots. And instead of putting it into a chest, what you're going to do is you're going to set up a factory directly afterwards. Okay, so now we need to grab our factory, our press. You set it up right there, and now it's going to go in, right? Well, it's not going to do anything until you put a mold in. So currently there are 3 different molds. There's such thing as a bolt mold, which creates little bolts. They look like this. They look like that. That's a copper bolt. And then there's the rod. There's a copper rod, and then there's a copper plate. So you've got the bolt, you got the rod, and you got the plate, right? And those are all corresponding molds. So in order to make those, you need to select your mold if you want to make rods or plates. Now, bolts require 15. So you see here, they require 15 ingots. The plates require 50 copper, and then these require 25. The rods do. So as of this video, I did have a bug. If you're swapping out molds a lot, sometimes it does get bugged out where it won't actually update it and it'll get stuck, which will require you to reset the copper press altogether by destroying it and then rebuilding it. So if you get in a weird situation that things are stuck, that's what you need to do to solve it. And so this is how you do it. And then as it builds up, you're going to put a chest back here. So let's get our industrial chest. And then what happens is as this fills up, just like a food processor, if you've ever used a food processor, actually many of you have not, so you might not even know how those work. But if you don't, see how it counts up, and then once it's done, it's going to actually stamp it, and then you're going to see it come out. So that's how you do an auto. Here's the problem. So see this? See how long this takes? It's about 1 every 2-3 seconds, right? So you're looking at about 150 seconds for you to make a copper plate, and that is horrible. Like having to sit here and wait, that's horrible. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this, and we're going to come back to see how much we've actually made while I do some other stuff. But that is a horrible factory, and so I would not recommend doing that. The only time I would probably ever recommend doing something like that is maybe if you're making bolts, because those only require 15. But even then I wouldn't even recommend that. I'm going to show you the best way to make a factory. All right, and it has nothing to do with being connected to the drill. You're not going to want to use the drill at all. As part of this, what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to do something like this. You know, definitely do this kind of setup. You definitely want to do an input and output chest. I've been using this all night. I've used this I used it all day yesterday, and I'll tell you, it works perfectly. It works perfectly. I came back to, I think I had about 7,000 or 8,000 copper when I came back. So I just basically autoed one of these, and then the other filled up. And so this is working really well. So you can see over here, I'm going to go and collect all these. I'm going to collect this. Now I already have 1,200. I'm going to collect that. So now I have like 1,300, right? That's really good. And then that's just one of them. So imagine both of them going. I have enough to make the steel press, and I'm going to show you how to use the steel press in a minute. So you're going to set up basically an industrial chest like this, and you're going to set it to direction out. And then this is the way you want to do it, is you want to fill this up. And then as they go in, see, I'm using a copper plate right now. You can see how fast it's filling up. It goes 22, 23, and it's going to make a copper plate here in a second. And you see, it's much faster doing it this way, but I'm going to show you something that just puts it in full turbo mode. So that's 50. That's way faster. That's way faster, especially if you're trying to make a steel press. If you're trying to make a steel press, look at how much the steel press costs. You're not gonna auto this. So see how it says copper plate 100, and then it requires 250 copper rod. Imagine waiting 3 seconds times time. So imagine waiting 150 seconds times 100. See how much time that would take you with an auto. That would take you 250 minutes and approximately 4 hours nonstop. It takes forever. That takes so long. I mean, you're talking hours and hours and hours, right? Look at, we've made one. We've made one this entire time. So that is horrible. Now I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to show you something else. We're going to go back over here. So now that you saw the basic chest one, look at this. So you don't even need to use chests. I just do it this way because it's easier so I don't lose stuff. I'm going to switch this out. I'm going to switch it out to a plate. Here's how you do this. So you can either do it this way. You filled all these up. Here's the cool thing about doing it this way. You stack a bunch of chests, right? And you don't have any kind of limitation. It's not like smelters. There's no delay for production. So why wouldn't you do it this way? Like I just made another one. Now you want to make it go faster? We can. Just drop the copper in there. Look at this thing go. Stamp, stamp. It just goes. Give me put it right here. So it's actually way better to do it this approach than waiting 100. Like when you need stuff, just make it. You just refill this all up. And in the time that you waited 150 seconds, look how many plates we've made. We've made 8 already. And like I said, you just hop up here. Look at that. Look at that down here. Look how fast it's going. There's no limit. So it'll stamp as fast as you can input. So imagine doing it this way instead of trying to do an auto. Tried autos. I had such bad luck doing it. And look, I've got 150 plates. I've got 100. I made these 257 and about 70 of these this evening very quickly. So if you want to be able to get a still press fast, do this. Earlier, I actually had all these presses and I didn't realize that I could just do it this way. But I had 4 presses. I had 4 copper presses going. So, you know, I was wasting a lot of time doing this. So here's the cool thing about it. And if you really want to go fast again, just swap out, you know, the molds to whatever you need. But I was making multiple modes. You can see I have 3 rod modes because I thought I had to use multiple factories to be able to do this quickly. And then I realized I could just stack it. I could just do it this approach. And this is super productive, right? And you can just also just spam it straight in. Now you're gonna have to pick some, if you're spamming it this way, you're gonna have to pick some back out. I mean, some of it's gonna fall out. Look at that thing go. Already got 3 more plates. So definitely check that out. That is the way to go. Now I'm gonna show you how to use a still press now that I've shown you that. So let's go ahead and make our still press. So the still press, I would say you can set up, you know, autos pretty easily for this. I would still recommend doing the same with this though. Like you could set it up as an auto, like it's so quick to get steel compared to copper. But I would still say like if you just want to be able to pump stuff out quickly, especially if you're making gearboxes. So if you don't know how to make a gearbox, you go to your anvil and you scroll down, it says gearbox. Now these are only worth 30,000 currently, but I would not recommend selling them to the mechanic. I would say save this to see what they come up with next because I think they're going to come up with something that's actually going to use this pretty soon. So keep those, don't sell those, keep them. And then I'm going to go ahead and move my stuff over here because I want to use the same industrial chest. All right, that's good. We're going to go ahead and put the still press in. There we go. And we're going to set up a mold. What do we want to make? I think we want to make still plates and still bolts. Let's go ahead and start with bolts. We can get our bolts done. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting these in. I'm going to put the steel inside my hotbar so I can see how much I have. So I have 5,000. So we're going to go ahead and just spam this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up some stairs here so I can just create like a little funnel. Let's do that. All right, now I can create a little funnel. You should see how fast it's going to output. Look at those bolts going. Look how many there, dude, it's so quick. Now, you don't want to spam I don't have that many autos going, so I'm not going to experience despawn, but you might. So be careful doing this on your island. You might actually despawn. So you don't even need the industrial chest if you don't want to do it that approach. Sometimes it's a little easier just to funnel it, but you can do both. Save your fingers some pain. You just auto click if you wanted to. Look how fast it's going. It's like 2 bolts a second. So let's see, how much do we have already? Oh, we're filling up. So I've already got, how many bolts do I have? 64. How many do I need for a gearbox? I think I have enough. Yeah, I have 50. Now we need to make still plates. So we need to swap this out. So let's swap this out with a plate. Let's go ahead and fill these chests back up. All right, it's looking pretty good. We've made 8 so far. How many do we need? We need 25, so we need another 17. 17 more plates at, I think there's 50 required. Go ahead and put these back in here. So if you don't feel like spamming the queue, just do this. And if you want to do a taller stack, go for it. If you want to do something like this. So unless they really give us the ability to speed up the copper farm, I would not recommend autoing it. You can certainly do it if you just never want to, if you don't really care and you're just like, well, I'll get what I can take. I just never want to have to bother with it. Like if you're more of a passive player that you don't really care about producing a whole lot, then that is an okay way to do it. Like you're not doing anything wrong doing it that way. See how we're doing over here? We already got a bunch of these. All right, we just need 1 more plate and we should have it now. Yep, we got it. So we're all set now. So we got enough plates. So let's go ahead and make this gearbox. All right, so we got the gearbox and that's what the gearbox looks like. And so that's ultimately what you're here to do. So you want to make as many of these as you can before this next update. That's my advice, is make as many of these as you can before the next update. Don't sell them to the mechanic. Whatever you do, don't sell them to the mechanic. Keep these. Trust me, just keep them. You're gonna want to keep them. And then you know, for the molds, just do one. Don't do multiple factories. You don't need more than one. For the presses and the molds, just do one press of each type. Just do copper and steel, and do one at a time and just get them done, and then swap out the molds as you need them. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep making these. Now you can make steel rods doing this approach. I don't think I would ever make steel rods through here just because there's a chance of despawn for your steel. So I wouldn't even bother with that. I would just auto click this, but I'm gonna make a lot more of these. So we need a lot more copper rods and steel bolts, and I am out of copper, so I'll have to go farm some more. But you can see this is the best way to produce stuff. You can, if you, like I said, it is fun to make autos, so I would highly recommend doing that if you like having a bunch of auto farms. But I think it's just better just to go pick up your stuff and then make it as you need it. There's a time limit with this. Like you have to wait for this, and then you got to wait for this, and then you got to wait for that to build up, and that's so slow. Whereas if I've got all this stuff, I just come over here, boom, boom. I can also AFK this, so I AFK farm the copper, so I never hit the chest limit. So you can just leave that going all night, and then when you're ready, you just go and spam the machines with your copper. That's exactly how I would set up my factories, and then make a ton of extra parts just in case you need them. But this is actually a really cool update. I can't wait to see the second part of this update. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised if they do what I think they're going to do. And if you have any questions, definitely, you know, hit me up in the comments. I'll try to get through those. And again, if you did take out your copper blocks, don't worry, they will respawn after 20 hours as a reminder. So this is my second farm right here. This spawned after 20 hours. It does spawn an entire island, and then it's going to spawn off of your main island. It's going to kind of be far away, right? So definitely keep an eye out for that little island. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.